Hey warriors, your mind is the battlefield where your future is won or lost. Right now, as you're watching this, your brain is processing thousands of thoughts, emotions, and reactions without you even knowing it. But here's what most people never realize. You have more control over this process than you think. The ancient Stoics understood something profound. We can't control what happens to us, but we can absolutely control how we respond. Your brain isn't just some mysterious organ that runs on autopilot. It's incredibly adaptable. Scientists call this neuroplasticity. Every time you choose a different response, every time you pause instead of react, every time you redirect your thoughts, you're literally rewiring your brain. You're creating new pathways and weakening old, destructive ones. But here's the thing. Most of us live like prisoners in our own minds. We let anger control our words. We replay painful memories like broken records. We let disappointment turn into bitterness. We react instead of respond. And then we wonder why we feel stuck, why we keep making the same mistakes, why peace feels so far away. Today, we're going to change that. We're going to explore 7 powerful principles that will help you take back control of your mind and emotions. These aren't just nice ideas. They're practical tools that have been tested by centuries of human experience and backed by modern neuroscience. Each of these principles is like a key that unlocks a different door in your mind. Together, they form a complete system for emotional mastery and mental clarity. The Stoics believed that our emotions don't just happen to us. They're created by our judgments and interpretations. When you understand this, everything changes. You stop being a victim of your circumstances and start becoming the architect of your inner world. But I need you to understand something important. This isn't about becoming emotionless or cold. It's about becoming emotionally intelligent. It's about responding instead of reacting. It's about choosing your thoughts instead of being chosen by them. Before we dive in, I want you to make me a promise. Don't just listen passively. Engage with this video. Like this video if it resonates with you. Drop your thoughts in the comments, share it with someone who needs to hear this message, and subscribe to our channel because we're building something special here together. And please, don't skip any part of this video. Your mind is the most powerful tool you'll ever own. It's time you learned how to use it. Claim your power now. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I control my mind doesn't control me. Number 1. Let disappointment fade before you speak. Silence is your power. Disappointment hits like a cold wave. Your expectations crash against reality, and suddenly you're flooded with emotions that feel too big for your chest. In that moment, your brain wants to do one thing: react. It wants to lash out, defend, explain, or fix everything with words. But here's what the Stoics understood that most people miss. Your first impulse is rarely your wisest impulse. When disappointment strikes, you're standing at the end of one expectation and the potential beginning of something better. But only if you give yourself the space to see it clearly. In moment of raw emotion, what did your mind want to do? Probably argue, blame, or find someone to dump all that frustration on. But when you react from disappointment, you're not speaking from wisdom, you're speaking from wounds. Your brain has this incredible ability called the amygdala hijack. When you're emotionally triggered, this ancient part of your brain takes over, flooding your system with stress hormones and shutting down your prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for rational thinking and emotional regulation. Essentially, you become temporarily less intelligent. Every word you speak from this state is compromised. But silence, real intentional silence, is different. It's not the silence of defeat or suppression. It's the silence of power. It's you saying, I'm going to let this settle before I decide what it means and how I want to respond. When disappointment hits, your immediate thoughts are usually distorted. You catastrophize, you personalize, you see everything through the lens of what went wrong. But disappointment, like all emotions, has a natural lifespan. If you don't feed it with reactive thoughts and words, it begins to fade. Not disappear, fade. It loses its sharp edges and becomes something you can work with instead of something that works against you. When disappointment strikes, give yourself what I call the 24-hour rule. Don't make any important decisions. Don't send that text. Don't have that confrontation. Just breathe and wait. Let the initial emotional storm pass. You'll be amazed at how different things look when you're not seeing them through the fog of fresh disappointment. During this silence, something powerful happens. Your rational mind comes back online. You start to see options you couldn't see before. You realize that this disappointment might be protecting you from something worse or redirecting you towards something better. You begin to separate what actually happened from the story you're telling yourself about what it means. The ancient Stoics practiced what they called negative visualization, imagining loss before it happened so they could appreciate what they had and be prepared when challenges arose. But they also understood something else. Every disappointment contains information. It tells you something about your expectations, your attachments, and maybe even your direction in life. When you speak from silence instead of reaction, your words carry weight. They're chosen, not thrown. They build bridges instead of burning them. They solve problems instead of creating new ones. People listen differently when they know your words have been filtered through wisdom instead of pushed through emotion. This doesn't mean you ignore your disappointment or pretend it doesn't matter. It means you honor it by giving it space to exist without letting it drive your actions. You acknowledge the pain without becoming the pain. You feel the emotion without becoming the emotion. Remember, disappointment is often just misdirected energy. When you let it fade before you speak, you can redirect that energy towards something constructive. Maybe it's time to adjust your expectations, change your approach, or discover opportunities you couldn't see when you were focused on what didn't work out. Your silence isn't weakness, it's strength under control. It's you choosing to respond from your highest self instead of your hurt self. It's you understanding that the space between stimulus and response is where your freedom lives. Remember this, your power isn't in your immediate reaction. Your power is in your ability to pause, breathe, and choose your response. That pause might be minutes, hours, or even days. But in that space, wisdom grows and your true voice emerges. Type this affirmation below to claim it as yours. My silence is my strength. My response is my choice. Number 2, anger is just noise. Don't let it write your story. Anger feels like fire in your chest, doesn't it? It burns hot, spreads fast, and promises to solve everything if you just let it loose. But here's what anger really is. It's your brain's alarm system going off, screaming that something isn't the way you think it should be. The problem is, most people let that alarm become the conductor of their entire life orchestra. Epictetus taught us something revolutionary. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. He knew anger intimately. Imagine being enslaved, powerless, treated as property. Yet he discovered that even in chains, his mind could be free. He learned that anger wasn't his master unless he chose to make it so. Your anger isn't really about what just happened. It's about the gap between reality and your expectations. Anger, actually a secondary emotion. Beneath every burst of anger is usually hurt, fear, disappointment, or feeling powerless. Anger feels stronger than these vulnerable emotions, so your brain reaches for it like a drug. It gives you a sense of energy, of righteous power, of being right when everything feels wrong. The danger isn't that you feel angry. Anger can actually be useful information. The danger is when you let anger become your identity, when you let it write your story. When you're constantly angry at traffic, at politics, at your family, at your circumstances, you're not living your life. You're living in reaction to everything that's not going your way. Think about someone you know who's always angry. How do they seem to you? Probably exhausted, right? That's because anger is incredibly expensive energy. It floods your system with cortisol and adrenaline, puts your body in fight or flight mode, and keeps you in a constant state of stress. You literally cannot think clearly when you're angry because your brain is preparing for battle, not problem solving. But you have a choice that most people never realize they have. You can observe your anger instead of becoming it. You can say, "I notice I'm feeling angry right now," instead of "I am angry." That small shift in language creates space between you and the emotion. You're not the anger, you're the person experiencing anger. The Stoics had a powerful technique for this. They would imagine themselves as observers of their own emotions, almost like watching themselves from outside their body. When anger arose, they would think, "Interesting, my mind is creating anger right now. What is this trying to tell me? What expectation wasn't met? What can I learn from this?" When anger hits, before you say anything or do anything, ask yourself 3 questions. First, is this anger helping me solve the actual problem? Usually the answer is no. Second, what am I really feeling underneath this anger? Often you'll find hurt, fear, or disappointment. Third, what would the wisest version of myself do right now? Sometimes anger is justified. Sometimes people do wrong things, systems fail, and life is genuinely unfair. But even justified anger doesn't have to control your response. You can acknowledge the injustice without letting it poison your peace. You can address problems without becoming the problem. Remember, every time you choose not to let anger write your next sentence, your next decision, your next interaction, you're literally rewiring your brain. You're strengthening the pathways of wisdom and weakening the pathways of reactivity. You're training yourself to respond rather than react. The most powerful people in history weren't the angriest. They were the ones who could feel anger but not be controlled by it. They could channel that energy into constructive action rather than destructive reaction. They understood that anger is like holding a hot coal with the intent of throwing it at someone else. You're the one who gets burned first. Your story is too important to be written by anger. Your life is too precious to be lived in constant reaction to things that don't go your way. You get to choose what emotions have access to your decision-making center. You get to choose which feelings get to drive and which ones just get to be passengers. Remember, you are not your anger. You are the consciousness that can observe anger, understand it, learn from it, and then choose how to respond. That's not suppression. That's mastery. Number 3, breathe, reset, and own the moment. Your breath is the bridge between your conscious and unconscious mind, between your voluntary and involuntary responses, between chaos and calm. Yet most of us go through entire days without really noticing we're breathing. We treat this life-giving process like background noise when it's actually one of our most powerful tools for mental and emotional control. Controlled breathing directly affects your nervous system. Marcus Aurelius would often retreat to his thoughts and center himself through mindful breathing before making important decisions. He knew that a regulated breath meant a regulated mind, and a regulated mind meant better choices. When stress hits your system, whether it's anger, anxiety, disappointment, or overwhelm, your breathing automatically becomes shallow and rapid. This triggers your sympathetic nervous system, flooding you with stress hormones and putting you in survival mode. Your heart rate increases, your muscles tense, and your thinking becomes narrow and reactive. You're literally less intelligent when you're not breathing well. But here's the amazing part. You can reverse this entire process simply by changing how you breathe. When you slow down your breath, deepen it, and make it intentional, you activate your parasympathetic nervous system, your body's natural calming mechanism. Your heart rate slows, your muscles relax, and most importantly, your prefrontal cortex comes back online. You become smarter, clearer, and more creative. This isn't just feel-good philosophy, it's biology. There's a nerve called the vagus nerve that runs from your brainstem to your abdomen, and it's like your body's reset button. Controlled breathing stimulates this nerve, sending a signal to your brain that says, "We're safe now. We can think clearly. We can respond wisely." The reset isn't just physical, it's mental and emotional too. When you pause to breathe intentionally, you're creating space between stimulus and response. In that space lives your freedom to choose. Without that space, you're just a biological machine reacting to whatever stimulus comes next. With that space, you become a conscious being choosing your response. Here's a simple technique that can change your life. The 4-7-8 breath. Inhale through your nose for 4 counts. Hold for 7 counts. Exhale through your mouth for 8 counts. Do this 3 times whenever you feel triggered, overwhelmed, or scattered. It's like hitting the reset button on your entire nervous system. But owning the moment goes beyond just breathing techniques. It's about recognizing that this moment, right now, is the only moment you actually have any power over. You can't control what happened 5 minutes ago, and you can't control what might happen 5 minutes from now, but you have complete authority over how you show up in this moment. Most people spend their present moment living in the past or the future. They're replaying old conversations, regretting past decisions, or anxiously anticipating future scenarios. Meanwhile, the only moment where life actually happens, where you can actually make choices, create change, or experience joy, slips by unnoticed. When you breathe, reset, and own the moment, you're declaring your independence from the tyranny of past regrets and future worries. You're saying, "I'm here now, fully present, ready to respond from my highest self." This is where your real power lives. The Stoics called this prosos, continuous attention to the present moment. They understood that wisdom isn't just knowing the right principles, it's applying them in real time, moment by moment. Every breath is an opportunity to reset. Every moment is a fresh start. Think about athletes at the highest level. When they're in the zone, they're not thinking about the last play or the next play. They're completely absorbed in this play, this moment, this breath. That's when peak performance happens, when all your energy and attention are focused on what's actually happening right now. This moment is your point of power. This breath is your reset button. When you feel scattered, overwhelmed, angry, or lost, you always have this tool available. You don't need special equipment. You don't need perfect conditions. You don't need anyone else's permission. You just need to remember that your breath is always with you, always available, always ready to bring you home to yourself. The quality of your breathing affects the quality of your thinking, which affects the quality of your decisions, which shapes the quality of your life. It's that simple and that profound. So right now, as you're listening to this, take a deep breath. Not because you have to, but because you can. Because in this simple act, you're exercising your most fundamental freedom, the freedom to choose your state of mind, your level of presence, your response to whatever life brings. Number 4, replay nothing. Your mind isn't a cinema for pain. Your mind has an incredible ability to transport you through time and space. In an instant, you can be back in that meeting where you said the wrong thing, reliving that argument from last week, or rewatching the moment when everything fell apart. But here's what most people don't realize. Every time you replay a painful memory, you're not just remembering it, you're literally re-experiencing it. Your brain can't tell the difference between what's happening now and what you're vividly remembering. The Roman Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius wrote in his private journal, "Confine yourself to the present." He understood something profound about human psychology. Mental time travel into painful memories doesn't heal you, it re-wounds you. Every replay strengthens those neural pathways, making the memory more vivid, more emotionally charged, and more likely to surface again. Think about how a movie theater works. You sit in darkness, completely absorbed, and for 2 hours your body responds as if what's happening on screen is real. Your heart races during chase scenes, you cry during sad moments, you jump during scary parts. Your brain is fully engaged with something that isn't actually happening to you right now. That's exactly what happens when you replay painful memories. You're sitting in the theater of your mind, watching the same painful movie over and over, and your body responds as if it's happening all over again. The stress hormones flood your system, your muscles tense up, your breathing becomes shallow. You're literally putting yourself through the trauma again and again. But here's what's even more dangerous about mental replay. It never gets better with repetition. Unlike a skill that improves with practice, painful memories actually get worse each time you revisit them. Your mind tends to focus on the most painful parts, exaggerate the negative aspects, and ignore any context that might bring perspective. You're not healing through repetition, you're deepening the wound. The brain has something called the negativity bias. We naturally pay more attention to negative experiences than positive ones because, evolutionarily, it helped us survive. A good day was nice, but a dangerous day could kill you. So your brain is wired to remember threats, mistakes, and painful experiences more vividly than pleasant ones. This served our ancestors well, but in modern life, it can trap us in cycles of unnecessary mental suffering. Here's a powerful reframe. Your past is not your present, and your present is not your future. When you're replaying old pain, you're literally choosing to live in a time that no longer exists while missing the life that's happening right now. You're trading your present peace for past pain, and that's a terrible deal. The Stoics had a concept called retrospective anxiety, worrying about things that already happened and can't be changed. They recognized this as one of the most pointless forms of mental suffering. You can't change what happened, but you can absolutely change how much mental real estate you give it. When you notice your mind starting to replay a painful memory, try this technique. Acknowledge it without judgment. I notice my mind wanting to replay that conversation. Then consciously redirect your attention to something in your present environment. Name 5 things you can see, 4 things you can touch, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste. This grounds you in the here and now. Another powerful approach is what I call the mental channel changer. When your mind starts playing a painful memory, imagine yourself holding a remote control. You can choose to change the channel. You can switch to a different memory, focus on your breathing, engage in a physical activity, or simply choose to focus on what you want to create in the future instead of what went wrong in the past. Remember, every moment you spend replaying old pain is a moment you're not present for your actual life. Your mind is incredibly powerful. It can transport you anywhere in time and space. But with that power comes responsibility. You get to choose where you direct it. You can use it to replay pain, or you can use it to imagine possibilities, solve problems, appreciate beauty, or simply be present to what's happening right now. The goal isn't to never think about the past or to pretend painful things didn't happen. The goal is to stop giving those painful memories a full-time residence in your present awareness. You can learn from the past without living there. you can acknowledge what happened without replaying it endlessly. Your mind isn't a cinema for pain. It's the control center for your life. What you choose to focus on shapes how you feel, which shapes how you act, which shapes the life you create. Make sure you're giving your mental energy to thoughts that serve your growth rather than your suffering. Drop this affirmation in the comments. My past informs me, but my present defines me. Number 5. Let your words and actions plant seeds, not weeds. Every word you speak and every action you take is a seed planted in the garden of your relationships, your reputation, and ultimately, your own soul. The question isn't whether you're planting, you're always planting. The question is, are you planting seeds that will grow into something beautiful or weeds that will choke out everything good around them? Seneca, the great Stoic teacher, once said, "Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end." But he also understood that our words and actions are the beginnings that create other people's experiences of us. When you speak with kindness, you plant seeds of trust. When you act with integrity, you plant seeds of respect. When you offer encouragement, you plant seeds of hope. These seeds grow into relationships, opportunities, and a reputation that serves you throughout your life. But when you speak from anger, you plant seeds of resentment. When you act selfishly, you plant seeds of distrust. When you criticize destructively, you plant seeds of insecurity in others. These weeds grow faster than good plants, and they're much harder to remove once they've taken root. Here's what most people don't understand about words. They don't just disappear into thin air once you've spoken them. They live on in other people's minds and hearts. That harsh criticism you gave your child doesn't just vanish, it becomes part of how they see themselves. That encouragement you offered your friend doesn't just fade away, it becomes strength they draw on when times are tough. Your words become part of other people's internal dialogue. The ancient Stoics understood that once something leaves your mouth or is expressed through your behavior, you can't take it back. You can apologize, you can try to repair damage, but you can't unplant what you've already planted. Think about someone who has had a positive impact on your life. Chances are you remember specific things they said or did that encouraged you, believed in you, or helped you see yourself in a better light. Their words became seeds of confidence, possibility, or hope that grew into something beautiful in your life. Now think about someone who hurt you with their words or actions. You probably still remember what they said or did, and those words might still affect how you feel about yourself. This is the profound responsibility and incredible opportunity we all have. Every interaction is a chance to plant something good. Every conversation is an opportunity to leave someone better than you found them. Every action is a chance to contribute something positive to the world. But here's where it gets really interesting. The seeds you plant don't just affect other people, they also shape who you become. When you consistently speak words of encouragement, you become more encouraging. When you regularly act with kindness, you become more kind. When you habitually choose actions that build rather than tear down, you become a builder. You literally become what you consistently do. There's a concept in psychology called embodied cognition, the idea that our actions shape our thoughts and feelings just as much as our thoughts and feelings shape our actions. When you choose to speak kindly, even when you don't feel kind, you actually start to feel more kind. When you choose to act courageously, even when you're afraid, you become more courageous. Your external actions create internal change. So, here's a practical challenge. For the next week, before you speak or act, ask yourself one simple question. Is this planting a seed or a weed? If it's a seed, something that could grow into trust, respect, love, opportunity, or growth, then proceed. If it's a weed, something that could grow into resentment, distrust, fear, or division, then pause and choose something different. This doesn't mean you can't address problems, give feedback, or have difficult conversations. It means you can do these things in ways that plant seeds of growth rather than weeds of destruction. You can criticize behavior without attacking character. You can express disagreement without being disagreeable. You can set boundaries without being cruel. Remember, the garden of your life, your relationships, your reputation, your sense of self, is cultivated one interaction at a time, one word at a time, one action at a time. You're the gardener, and you get to choose what grows there. Make sure you're planting the kind of seeds that will create the kind of life you want to live in. The most beautiful gardens aren't accidents. They're the result of intentional, consistent, mindful planting. Your life can be just as beautiful if you choose to plant seeds instead of weeds. Number 6, drink in the good moments like they're rare treasures. Here's a tragic truth about human nature. We're wired to rush past joy and camp out in misery. Think about it. When something good happens, we barely pause to notice. We get the promotion and immediately worry about the new responsibilities. We have a beautiful moment with our family and instantly start thinking about tomorrow's to-do list. But when something goes wrong, we can replay it for hours, days, even years. This isn't your fault, it's evolution. Your ancestors survived because they paid attention to threats and problems. The ones who stopped to admire sunsets while lions were hunting didn't pass on their genes. So, your brain is naturally programmed to scan for danger and gloss over beauty. But in our modern world, this survival mechanism often works against our happiness and well-being. The Stoics understood this paradox deeply. Marcus Aurelius, despite having unlimited power and wealth, made a daily practice of noticing and appreciating simple pleasures. He wrote, "Dwell on the beauty of life. Watch the stars and see yourself running with them." He knew that without intentional appreciation, even the most privileged life could feel empty and meaningless. But drinking in good moments isn't just about feeling happier. It's about rewiring your brain for resilience, gratitude, and joy. Neuroscientists have discovered that positive experiences need to be held in awareness for at least 12 seconds to transfer from short-term to long-term memory. Most good moments flash by in 2 to 3 seconds. We literally don't give our brains enough time to properly encode the joy we experience. This is why depression and anxiety are so persistent. Negative experiences automatically stick in our memory, while positive experiences slip away unless we consciously hold on to them. It's like your brain has Velcro for negative experiences and Teflon for positive ones. But you can change this pattern through deliberate practice. Here's a simple but powerful technique. When something good happens, no matter how small, pause and really absorb it. That first sip of morning coffee that tastes perfect, the moment your child laughs at something silly, the feeling of accomplishment when you finish a challenging task, the warmth of sunlight on your face. Instead of rushing to the next thing, stay present with the goodness for at least 20 seconds. During those 20 seconds, engage all your senses. What do you see? What do you hear? What do you feel in your body? What emotions are present? The richer and more detailed your attention, the more deeply the positive experience embeds in your memory. You're literally building a library of joy that you can access during difficult times. The Stoics called this practice preferred indifference, recognizing that while external circumstances don't determine your happiness, there's nothing wrong with appreciating good things when they come. They weren't stoic about everything. They were strategic about what they attached their happiness to. They savored beauty, friendship, learning, and virtue while remaining unattached to outcomes they couldn't control. But here's what's really beautiful about this practice. When you start truly drinking in good moments, you realize how many of them there actually are. Most people think they need big events to be happy, vacations, achievements, major life changes. But joy is usually found in ordinary moments that we've trained ourselves to overlook. The taste of your favorite meal, the feeling of clean sheets, a text from a friend saying they're thinking of you, the satisfaction of completing something you've been procrastinating on, a stranger's smile, a song that takes you back to a happy memory. These moments are happening all around you, all the time. The question is, are you present enough to receive them? Research in positive psychology shows that people who regularly practice gratitude and savor positive experiences are more resilient, have stronger relationships, and recover faster from setbacks. They've built what psychologists call psychological capital, a reserve of positive emotions and memories that serves them during challenging times. Think of it this way: every good moment you fully experience is like making a deposit in your emotional bank account. When life gets difficult, and it will, you can draw on these deposits. You remember that life isn't all struggle, that beauty exists, that joy is possible. These memories become anchors of hope during storms of difficulty. But you have to be intentional about it. Good moments won't force themselves on your attention the way problems do. You have to choose to notice them, choose to pause for them, choose to let them fill you up. You have to drink them in like they're rare treasures, because in a way, they are. Each moment of genuine joy, peace, or contentment is unique and unrepeatable. The paradox is this: the more you appreciate what you have, the more you seem to have to appreciate. Gratitude creates a positive feedback loop that opens your eyes to goodness that was always there, but previously invisible. So right now, as you're listening to this, notice something good in your present experience. Maybe it's the fact that you're learning something new. Maybe it's the comfortable place where you're sitting. Maybe it's simply the miracle that you're alive and conscious in this moment. Don't just think about it, really feel it, breathe it in, let it fill you up. Number 7, anchor yourself in now. This is where life happens. Right now, as you're watching this, where is your mind? Are you fully here? Or is part of you already thinking about what you need to do after this video? Are you present to these words? Or are you mentally rehearsing a conversation you need to have later? This isn't a criticism, it's the human condition. Our minds are time travelers, constantly jumping between past regrets and future worries, rarely settling into the only moment where life actually happens, now. Epictetus, the Stoic philosopher who understood suffering intimately, taught his students that happiness isn't found in changing your circumstances. It's found in fully inhabiting whatever circumstances you have right now. He said, "Wealth consists in not having great possessions, but in having few wants." But he could have just as easily said, "Peace consists in not having perfect conditions, but in being fully present to whatever conditions you have." Your present moment is your anchor in the storm of existence. Everything else, your memories, your plans, your worries, your dreams, they all exist as thoughts happening right now. The past is a present moment memory. The future is a present moment imagination. The only place you actually have any power, any choice, any ability to experience joy or create change is right here, right now. But we've been trained to live everywhere except the present. We're told to learn from the past and plan for the future, which are valuable skills. But somewhere along the way, we forgot how to simply be here now. We've become experts at mental time travel and amateurs at presence. We know how to worry about tomorrow and regret yesterday, but we've lost the art of fully experiencing today. The neuroscience of presence is fascinating. When you're truly present, not thinking about the past or future, not judging or analyzing, just fully aware of what's happening right now, your brain waves change. You enter what researchers call a flow state, where stress decreases, creativity increases, and you feel more connected to yourself and your environment. This is when peak performance happens, when deep satisfaction emerges, when life feels most vivid and meaningful. But presence isn't just about performance or productivity, it's about aliveness. When you're present, colors seem brighter, food tastes better, conversations feel deeper, and simple activities become more satisfying. You're not living your life secondhand through the filter of constant mental commentary. You're experiencing it directly, immediately, fully. The Stoics practiced what they called morning reflection and evening reflection, but the heart of their philosophy was what happened between those reflections, continuous attention to the present moment. They understood that wisdom isn't just knowing the right principles, it's applying them in real time, moment by moment, choice by choice. Here's a simple practice that can transform your relationship with time. Throughout your day, randomly ask yourself, where am I right now? Not physically, mentally and emotionally. Are you here with what's happening now, or are you somewhere else in time? When you notice you've drifted, gently bring yourself back without judgment. Think of it as mental hygiene, like brushing your teeth for your consciousness. Another powerful anchor is your physical body. Your body is always in the present moment. It can't be anywhere else. When your mind starts spinning into the past or future, connect with physical sensations. Feel your feet on the ground. Notice your breathing. Sense the temperature of the air on your skin. Your body becomes a bridge back to now. The present moment isn't always pleasant. Sometimes now involves pain, difficulty, or discomfort. Anchoring yourself in now doesn't mean pretending everything is wonderful. It means showing up fully for your actual experience instead of adding mental suffering on top of whatever physical or emotional challenge you're facing. When you're present with difficulty, you often discover it's more manageable than you thought, and it usually passes more quickly than when you resist it. Think about the people you most enjoy being around. Chances are they're present when they're with you. They're not constantly checking their phone, thinking about other things, or rushing to get somewhere else. They're here, now, with you. That presence is a gift you can offer to everyone you encounter, including yourself. The ancient Stoics believed that the present moment contains everything you need to live wisely and well. Not everything you want, but everything you need. The wisdom to make good decisions, the capacity to love and be loved, the ability to learn and grow, the opportunity to contribute something positive to the world. All of this is available right now, in this moment, regardless of your circumstances. Your life isn't happening later when conditions are perfect. It's not happening in your memories of the past. It's happening now. This breath, this heartbeat, this moment of awareness, this is life. Don't miss it while you're waiting for something else. You now have 7 keys to unlock the power of your own mind and emotions. These aren't just concepts to think about. They're tools to use, practices to implement, and principles to live by. The Stoics understood that philosophy without application is just intellectual entertainment. Real wisdom changes how you show up in the world. These principles work together like instruments in an orchestra. Each one is powerful alone, but together they create something beautiful, a life lived with intention, wisdom, and inner freedom. You don't have to be perfect at all of them. You just have to be willing to practice, to notice when you're off course, and to gently bring yourself back. Your mind is the most powerful tool you'll ever own. It can create heaven or hell from the same circumstances. It can find reasons to be grateful or reasons to complain in the same situation. It can focus on what's wrong or what's possible in the same moment. The choice is always yours. Remember, every time you choose wisdom over reactivity, presence over mental time travel, response over reaction. You're not just changing your experience, you're rewiring your brain. You're literally becoming a different person, one choice at a time. The Stoics believed that the highest human achievement isn't wealth, fame, or power. It's the ability to remain calm and wise, regardless of external circumstances. That's the freedom they were after, and it's the freedom available to you right now. Your journey toward mental and emotional mastery starts with your very next choice. Make it a wise one. If this resonated with you, please like this video, share it with someone who needs to hear this message, drop your favorite principle in the comments, and subscribe to our channel. We're building a community of people committed to inner growth and wisdom, and your voice matters here. Thank you for taking this journey with me. Until next time, remember, you have more control over your mind than you think, and that control is your path to freedom. Share this powerful affirmation in the comments to lock it in. I am the master of my thoughts, the author of my responses, and the creator of my peace.